Imagine being sentenced to life in one of the most brutal prisons in America for a crime you didn't commit. Now imagine keeping your dignity, your hope, and your mind intact for decades. The Shawshank Redemption is not just a prison drama. It's a quiet storm of resilience, friendship, and the long game of justice. But what really happens behind those cold stone walls? Let's just say it's not what you expect. It's the late 1940s. The story begins with a man named Andy Dufresne, a successful banker with a calm, almost distant presence. His life takes a sharp and dark turn when he's convicted of murdering his wife and her lover. The evidence is circumstantial, but damning. The courtroom sees a cold-blooded killer. Andy insists he's innocent. He's sent to Shawshank State Penitentiary, a gray, towering prison where time doesn't move, it just stretches. The place is bleak, violent, unforgiving. New prisoners are either broken or bent by the system. The guards are brutal, and the warden holds absolute power under the guise of religion and order. Inside these walls, Andy is a fish out of water, quiet, educated, and unassuming. He's not tough, he's not street smart, yet instead of lashing out or falling apart, he begins to adapt, not by force, but through patience. One of the first men to take notice of Andy is Red, a seasoned lifer who's known for sourcing things from the outside: cigarettes, posters, even tools. Red narrates much of the story, giving us a lens into Andy's mysterious and methodical mind. Andy isn't like the others. He keeps to himself, spends long hours in the library, and eventually he asks Red for a small rock hammer, not for escape, but for shaping stones. It seems harmless, hobbyist stuff, but it sparks curiosity. What is this guy really up to? Meanwhile, life inside Shawshank goes on grim and grinding. Andy is beaten, harassed, and nearly broken, but he never loses his calm. He keeps his head down and somehow, slowly, starts making himself useful. One day, he offers financial advice to a guard, helping him legally protect some inheritance from taxes. That small gesture becomes a turning point. Word spreads Andy's good with numbers. Soon, he's doing the taxes for nearly every guard in the prison. Even the warden himself starts to rely on him. This grants Andy certain privileges, protection, access to resources, and eventually the keys to managing prison accounts. But it's not all opportunity. The deeper Andy gets involved, the more he sees how corrupt Shawshank truly is. The warden is running a money laundering scheme, using prison labor for profit under shady contracts. Andy becomes an unwilling accomplice, trapped by his usefulness. Still, he doesn't stop helping others. He transforms the prison library, helps inmates get educated, and earns the trust of men who once viewed him as soft. Red, especially, grows closer to Andy, bonded by years of quiet friendship and unspoken respect. But even Red can't fully understand what's going on inside Andy's mind. As years pass, Shawshank changes, but Andy stays the same, calm, composed, and always a step ahead. But something shifts when a young prisoner named Tommy arrives. Tommy's just a kid, rough around the edges, but he carries a story that shakes Andy to his core. Tommy reveals that years ago, while serving time in another prison, he bunked with a man who claimed responsibility for the murders Andy was convicted of. The story is chillingly specific, and it matches the details of Andy's case. Hope flares up. Finally, a chance at justice. Andy approaches the warden, pleading to investigate and reopen his case. But Shawshank doesn't deal in justice. It deals in control. The warden knows if Andy leaves, his money laundering empire could crumble, so he shuts it down hard. What happens next is devastating and reveals just how far the system will go to protect itself. Andy begins to change. He becomes quieter, more distant. He talks to Red about hope, about dreams beyond the prison walls, about a place called Zihuatanejo on the Mexican coast. A fantasy, it seems, or maybe a plan. He gives Red a cryptic message, something to remember, something about a hidden spot under a specific tree, a piece of the world waiting for him if he ever makes parole. And then one stormy night, everything changes. And that's where things get intense. A locked cell, a missing prisoner, a stunned warden, a trail of secrets, years in the making. The Shawshank Redemption doesn't explode in action. It unravels like a masterstroke you never saw coming. The Shawshank Redemption is more than a prison story. It's a testament to patience, quiet rebellion, and the power of hope. It's about holding on to your identity in a place designed to strip it away. With unforgettable performances, especially from Tim Robbins and Morgan Freeman, this film leaves a lasting mark, not with explosions, but with quiet genius. If you've never seen seen it, now's your chance to discover why it's considered one of the greatest films of all time. And if you have seen it, maybe it's time to revisit the legend. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment with your favorite scene or a movie you'd like us to cover next. And if you want to see how this incredible story ends, go watch The Shawshank Redemption. You won't regret it.